Yo, what's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, want to get you guys an updated look at the head coaching search that's going on for the New York Jets right now. And I headlined this video, Jets fans got some bad news because they are interviewing Maryland head coach Mike Locksley. Huge shocker in this whole thing. And I got a lot of stats on him, got my thoughts on him that we'll dive into. And then also, Josina Anderson put out an interesting report on Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. So I'll share that with you guys. And then overall, we'll just go over the 17 coaches that the Jets are hiring because, Mike Locksley's getting an interview. So just about anybody's going to get an interview with the New York Jets. But before we dive into that, if you guys could help us out here, we're actually closing in on 1,000 subscribers. I think we're about 50 subs away. So if you guys could, and you're a diehard Jets fan and want a Jets video almost every single day, I got you guys. I'm actually off right now, but there's a lot to talk about, and I enjoy talking about this football team a whole lot. So if you guys could, hit that subscribe button, lock us in. Don't miss a thing around your New York Jets. I promise you, you watch this channel for a couple of weeks, you won't regret it. I will give you guys everything I got. So hit that sub button, lock us in. So this was tweeted out today saying the Jets are spending a portion of today interviewing Maryland head coach Mike Locksley as the former Bama OC and current Maryland head coach gets another NFL interview. And then this was the tagline here. New York Jets expansion search has left no stone unturned. Taking a look at a leader and a culture setter in college. And I will give credit. I saw this on Twitter from Thor Nystrom. He's a very intelligent NFL fan out there. Give him a follow on Twitter if you guys haven't already. But he then quote tweeted that because they used the word culture setter for Mike Locksley, current Maryland head coach. And he said, "Excuse me, culture setter. This guy once allegedly attacked, choked, and punched an assistant coach during a film session. And this guy's record, his FBS career record, is 35 and 67. And you may be saying, oh, last year he probably had a good year at Maryland. No, he went 4-8. His career record, 35 and 67 in 10 years. And he actually has a bowl game record of 3-0, so give him credit there. But also, he was originally at New Mexico, and it was a complete disaster. He went 2-26 and was fired during his third season. When I honestly got this report that the Jets are interviewing him, I thought it was like a fake account. I honestly did not believe it whatsoever, but I guess the Jets are just, really trying to get everybody in there. Everybody gets an interview. Just try to get the best feel of this whole situation. But, I just think it's a waste of time. I don't get it from the Jets side of things. I don't think there's any chance he gets hired as the next head coach. Now, maybe this could be a situation where they bring him for an interview for the head coach, but he ends up getting hiring at a different position on the coaching staff after they actually do hire their head coach. That could be a situation, but still, definitely interesting. Mike Locksley interviewing for the Jets head coaching job. That's about all I got to say about that. But some more important stuff, more relevant stuff here. Josina Anderson tweeted out saying the Saints and Jets will pretty much fight for Aaron Glenn. Now, this has been well reported, even dating back to like November, December, that the New Orleans Saints are very high on Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, if you guys don't know. And it makes a lot of sense. He's got connections to New Orleans. And I think Aaron Glenn, he would be very high up on my list in terms of a guy I would want to bring in and be the head coach for the New York Jets. But I just have a feeling, like if you're just kind of reading the tea leaves here, connecting some dots, I would be pretty certain that Aaron Glenn ends up in New Orleans and is their next head coach. But again, anything can happen. But from what I'm reading from this Josina report, the Jets are clearly very high on Aaron Glenn. So let's just say, we're watching this timeline of the whole head coach tracker situation, and then we see Aaron Glenn, or we see the Saints go in a different direction, not Aaron Glenn. I would watch out then for the Jets hiring Aaron Glenn pretty much right away. So I think Glenn, just after this report, kind of moves up, my list on who's likely to become the next New York Jets head coach. But I do want to close today's show out with just talking about who the Jets have hired, because it is a massive, massive list here. So we can start not in a particular order, but I got a lot of these kind of weirder interviews at the top here. So Jeff Albrecht, interim head coach last season, he should not have any chance. This is the funny part, though. He is not the only interim head coach that they are interviewing. They are also interviewing Darren frickin' Rizzi. Darren Rizzi, the New Orleans Saints interim head coach. I don't get that. That makes even less sense than the Maryland guy, Mike Locksley, in my opinion. I don't get that whatsoever, but they're interviewing him as well. Obviously, Rex Ryan, who maybe the more I talk about Rex Ryan coming back with the Jets, the more I want it to happen. But, that's a whole other video for a whole nother day. But Brian Griese, quarterback coach for the Niners. Ron Rivera, former head coach for the Panthers and the Commanders. You also got Steve Spagnuolo. That's a new one. And that's an interesting one because I don't know if Spags would just leave his kind of great situation with the Chiefs here. I think he's got it pretty set up. He just needs to focus on his side of the ball, and they're winning 13, 14, 15 games every season, and they'll be competing for Super Bowls. So I thought that was a little bit of an interesting one. But also Chiefs OC, Matt Nagy. We talked about him yesterday. I'll be pretty out on Nagy. I think it would be a great offensive coordinator hire for the Jets if they do go the direction of a Vrabel, Glenn, Flores situation. So I wouldn't hate him for that. But also, Vance Joseph. Don't love that. Same with Arthur Smith. Don't love that. Bobby Slowik, OC of the Texans. I would be completely out on that. I think that would be a disaster. But I want to talk about one guy here real quick. Josh McCown. Now, Josh McCown is currently the quarterback coach for the Minnesota Vikings. And this guy got head coach interviews a couple of years ago with the Houston Texans. Before then, he was with the Panthers for a little bit. Then he went, obviously, to Minnesota. He's a QB coach there right now. And he's done a great job. And if you guys turn on any Vikings game, for example, the Monday night playoff game, Vikings-Rams, go turn it on. You will see Josh McCown. He is right in Darnold's ear the entire game. He is a big part of that coaching staff, so I don't hate that. Aaron Glenn, already talked about him a little bit. I think that'll be a great hire for the Jets. But again, I would be a little skeptical. I think it would be a hire I really, really like, but it wouldn't be something where I'm like, oh, that was great. This is changing the direction of the franchise. Mike Vrabel, I think he's the safe hire. He would raise your floor, but I still feel like maybe your ceiling wouldn't be as high, but I would be thrilled with Vrabel as well. Brian Flores and Joe Brady, the last two here. Flores, I would love. I think Flores has completely changed his tune on who he once was back with the Dolphins. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was just talking out of his ass on a podcast recently. Honestly, I thought it was incredibly disrespectful the way he was talking about Flo. But I think Flores, being under Tomlin, being under O'Connell, I think he will be a whole lot better once he gets that another chance to be a head coach. And plus, he is a defensive mastermind. We talk about all these guys we need to get this young offensive genius. Flores is that, just on the other side of the football. But Joe Brady, OC for the Bills, skeptical. You're coaching Josh Allen. He's a generational talent. He might be the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. I think it would be a good hire. Would he be a great hire? Who knows? And a lot of these guys, it's just a bunch of unknowns. It's a bunch of just reckless speculation here. But still, I think just the news of the day that they're interviewing the Maryland head coach, just what are we doing there? Mike Locksley. I guess he's getting an interview. But that's the news of the day. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. See you next time. Go Jets.